Sometimes, the people who change our lives forever are the ones we never planned to meet. And sometimes, kindness shows up in the most ordinary places, like a sidewalk in front of a small-town pharmacy. This story begins on a sunny morning when a single dad bent down to tie a little girl's shoe, and ended up changing a woman's entire future. But what happened between them wasn't luck. It wasn't fate, it was kindness, the kind that heals more than anyone realizes. Before we begin, if you love real stories that warm the heart and remind you of the good still left in the world, make sure to subscribe, like, and leave a comment for us here on Kindness Lights. Your support helps these stories shine even brighter. Now let's begin. Her name was Emily. She was in her early 30s, smart, warm, and once full of energy. But after a terrible car accident 2 years earlier, Emily had been left unable to walk. Doctors told her she might walk again someday, but that someday felt farther away each month. She spent most of her days in a wheelchair, moving through life slowly, carefully, and often painfully. Emotionally, she felt stuck too. The independence she once had was gone. The confidence, the spark, the joy, all dimmed. She lived alone in a small apartment, relying on neighbors and delivery services for almost everything. Still, every morning she pushed herself to go outside, even if it was just to sit near the pharmacy and breathe fresh air. That's where she first saw him, a man in his early 30s, tired eyes, but a gentle smile, walking hand in hand with his little daughter. He was always rushing in or out of the store before heading to work. Emily noticed how patient he was with the girl, how he knelt down to listen to her instead of talking over her. He looked like someone carrying a lot, yet still choosing kindness in small ways. His name was Daniel. He was a single dad raising 8-year-old Lily on his own. Life wasn't easy for them either. Daniel worked long hours as a mechanic, struggled to pay bills on time, and tried his best to be both mother and father to his daughter. But he believed kindness mattered, especially for Lily. He wanted her to grow up knowing how to treat people with compassion. The first time Daniel spoke to Emily, it wasn't anything dramatic. He simply smiled and said, "Good morning," while holding the pharmacy door open for her. Emily, who wasn't used to strangers looking her directly in the eyes anymore, felt a surprising warmth from his simple greeting. The next day, Lily waved at her. The day after, they stopped to chat. Their conversations were short, light, but genuine. Emily learned that Daniel dropped Lily at school after picking up her asthma medication every week. Daniel learned that Emily came outside each morning to feel human again, as she shyly admitted one morning. As Daniel knelt to tie Lily's shoelace, he glanced up at Emily and noticed the brace on her leg. "Is it painful?" he asked softly. Emily hesitated, then nodded. For the first time in a long while, she felt safe enough to talk. She told him about the accident, the therapy, the frustration, the fear. And he listened, really listened. Something changed after that day. Daniel began timing his errands so he could check on her. Not to pity her, but because he genuinely cared. He started bringing her coffee, sometimes hot, sometimes iced depending on the weather. He learned what made her laugh. He asked if she needed help but never pushed. His kindness wasn't loud. It wasn't showy. It was steady, warm, and exactly what Emily had been missing. Weeks passed, and Lily grew attached to her too. She would draw pictures for Emily and tell her stories about school. Emily found herself smiling more, feeling seen again, not as a woman in a wheelchair, not as someone broken, but as a friend. One day, Daniel arrived with an idea. "I'm no doctor," he said, "but I do know a thing or two about fixing things. My buddy at the community center teaches physical therapy exercises. I've watched him help people get stronger. Would you want to try some of those movements? I could help." "Only if you're comfortable." Emily felt nervous. Doctors had told her therapy would be slow and painful. But something in Daniel's voice made her believe she wasn't alone in it anymore. She agreed every morning. Instead of just talking, Daniel gently helped her stretch her legs, practice small movements, and rebuild strength. He supported her, encouraged her, and reminded her that progress didn't have to be perfect. Some days she made tiny improvements, other days she felt discouraged. But Daniel never let her quit. You don't have to walk fast, he'd say. You just have to walk forward. Months passed and then came the day that changed everything. Emily held onto the rails outside the community center, her legs trembling. Daniel stood beside her, not touching, just ready. Lily watched with wide eyes, bouncing with hope. Emily took a breath, and lifted herself. Her feet touched the ground. She stood not for long. Not perfectly. Not pain-free, but she stood. Tears streamed down her face. Daniel's eyes glistened. Lily clapped wildly. You did it, Daniel whispered. No, Emily said, shaking with emotion. We did it. Kindness had given her something alone could not, belief. From that day on, Emily kept improving. Small steps turned into bigger ones. Eventually, she walked short distances with support. Her life opened up again, and so did her heart. And the man who helped her walk again? Let's just say Emily, Daniel, and Lily became something like a family, not overnight, but slowly, the way real love grows. Kindness doesn't always change the whole world, but it can change someone's world completely. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment here on Kindness Lights. Let's keep spreading stories and acts of kindness everywhere we go.